every morning of a sitting day, the Speaker does ask us to reflect on what it means to be in the Assembly and for the constituents that we represent. And I take that moment and really think about just what a privilege it is to be here.
Hello and welcome to Season 3 of 30 Minute Call. Thanks to the Canberra Theatre Centre and proudly produced on Ngunnawal land. We pay our respects to the people of the Ngunnawal Nation and their elders past, present and emerging. Friendship, love, arts, politics. We've got it all for Season 3, Episode 1. My name's Joe Gleeson. I'm back again for Season 3 and our guest today is Cheyne MLA. She's got many portfolios, Tara. Assistant Minister for Economic Development, Minister for Business and Better Regulation, for Human Rights, for Multicultural Affairs, and Minister for the Arts. The all-important Minister for the Arts. In our chat, we get to know Tara a little better, hear about her love for the arts, her Christmas holiday from hell, and a whole bunch more. So let's do it. Cheyne MLA, this is your 30-minute call. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the podcast. Member for Ginninderra, right here in the ACT Legislative Assembly. Cheyne, good morning, hello.
Good morning, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for jumping on and having a bit of a yarn to us. Welcome to 30 Minute Call. What have we dragged you away from, your ministerial duties this morning?
So certainly haven't dragged me away. I'm here with a lot of enjoyment and ready to go. And certainly of my own free will. But
Good.
It's just a full-on day of meetings.
Yes, right.
And right across all of the portfolios, which I've got a few.
Yeah.
And some of these days can be, I think, just getting the mindset right for different meetings that are in different parts of the portfolio. That's probably what gives the brain a little bit of a workout on days like today. Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought you're going to get bored too easily. There seems to be plenty of diversity in your role.
Yeah, there's plenty of variety. But also I think a lot of people, when they first saw the portfolios I got, that they looked at it and went, that just looked like a bit of a grab bag of things. But after a few weeks, I saw the Chief Minister, and when he'd first listed them all to me, I remember my eyes just widening and going, when will the list end?
Yeah.
But after a few weeks, I caught up with him, I think, just casually in the car park, and I said to him, do you know what, I get it now. These actually all do relate. Yeah. And, Canberra being an inclusive and inviting and a vibrant city, that is so important across the human rights and multicultural and especially the arts portfolio, about making Canberra a really attractive place to be. But equally, all of those then lend themselves, if Canberra's an attractive place to be, that means that we can grow our business here, grow our economy. So that features very heavily with the business and the economic development portfolios. So there are all the connections there, and I think having the lens on all of them when I look at anything has been really helpful and a bit of a unique new position.
From the Canberra Theatre Centre point of view, we're very excited because you are our new arts minister. And congratulations on that. That must be a nice portfolio to pick up for you.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And certainly in doing so, I want to pay tribute to the previous arts minister, in Gordon Ramsay.
Yes.
He had such a deep and enduring connection to the arts, and I know has done so much in his term as arts minister. So big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But equally, this is a portfolio that I've always been really attracted to, and Canberra's just got such a fantastic art scene, and to be the minister doesn't feel so much like a job, but like I'm kind of coming into something that I was already felt very much a part of, and a deep interest in, and being able to elevate that work is a real privilege. So I'm very excited.
Can you tell us a little bit about your connection to the arts, Tara?
Yeah, sure. So I think probably where my own creative endeavours lie probably more fall into writing and poetry and a little bit of photography. But equally, I think where my connection really grew into the arts and where a lot of people saw me coming through was both within the Belconnen Art Centre when I joined their board back in 2013, and I was a board member for about 3 years. And also with my blog, which was called In the Tara Tree, and I often reviewed things around town, and I certainly was reviewing things as a bit of a layperson, but also just as a someone who deeply appreciates the arts and really wanted to expose to the broader community all the amazing things that were going on around our town, and what you could not only see or do, but get involved in, and being able to bring that to a wider audience was really, really fun, and gave me a very good perspective of just how much we've got going on in the ACT.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? I often feel like we're quite spoilt for choice with when you really look for it, and you sink your teeth into what's going on around Canberra. And it's interesting, when you go along to your blog and you see the love letter to Canberra, I feel like that is kind of a fairly typical experience of someone who's moving to Canberra, and there's a bit of apprehension at first, and then you realise, hang on, all these things that I thought at first, maybe I'm not into this. This is some of the stuff that I now love about Canberra, and I'm discovering so much more all the time. Do you think that's a fairly typical experience for people?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think you kind of just need that first or second thing that opens a door for you, and that leads to the next thing and the next thing. I've heard people describe Canberra as a bit of an onion, that there's so many layers to it, and when you start peeling back the surface, scratching the surface, that suddenly you realise all the things that are going on. And there are some months, and I think increasingly throughout the year, where you're so spoilt for choice, as you said, throughout a weekend and increasingly on during weekdays for what to do. And for people who really do want to get involved, that the sky's honestly the limit.
Yeah. So you've moved to Canberra. You've been inspired by the town so much so that you've decided to use your love of writing to start this blog. And then the step on from that, you've decided, hey, let's get into this politics thing. What inspired you to make that next step?
Yeah, there were a few things to it. Certainly, you're exactly right. The love for Canberra, feeling especially when I moved to Belconnen, that I felt like I'd finally found a hometown. I'd moved around so much as a kid. My parents had a range of different career changes, and so I never really felt growing up that I had somewhere that I could say that I came from, or this is my home. Yeah. But something really clicked for me when I moved to Belconnen, and that's when I started the blog. It's when Canberra as a whole started to really make a lot of sense to me. And at the time, I also joined the Belconnen Community Council, because I thought, actually, I can't just rely on other people to create the city for me and how it feels to me. I should be part of contributing to that too. Yeah, right. And I think just after a few years, I got to a point. I was also a Labor Party member and had been since 2007, and I really liked the vision of Andrew Barr and creating the city and really building the city into something that was even more attractive than what we already had. And I thought, you know what, I think I want to be part of that. And I not only want to be a great representative in Belconnen and contribute to that, but also be part of this broader Canberra story. So 2015, put my hand up for pre-selection in the party, and after a very intense campaign in 2016, I was lucky enough to be elected.
And so elected in 2016, re-elected in 2020. What does that feel like to know that you've been elected, like you've got enough votes to be able to represent now? And what does that feel like to know that people are really actually voting for you?
Yeah, there's nothing like it. It's incredible, but I'll also be very honest that it can be incredibly challenging psychologically to be campaigning. Sometimes you don't know what people are thinking, and sometimes you have the same conversation about something 30 or 40 times in a day. But at the end of it, to know that what you stand for resonated with people enough that they went, actually, that's who I want to be representing me. That's something really powerful, and I don't think that any of us who are elected into this place take it lightly. And indeed, every morning of a sitting day, the Speaker does ask us to reflect on what it means to be in the Assembly and for the constituents that we represent. And I take that moment and really think about just what a privilege it is to be here. It is a very it's an incredible feeling, one that I think only really other politicians quite understand, and probably why, even though campaigning is extraordinarily difficult and really, really tough, that this is why we put our names forward and stand up, because we know just what the power there is behind being able to represent the communities that we love.
Going back to this sort of this Canberra experience and our love for Canberra, for you, Tara, what does the perfect night out at the theatre specifically look like for you?
That's a great question. I think for me that the perfect night out, I think, probably starts off with a dinner.
Yes.
Ideally with friends, but not necessarily. I think what we've seen, particularly in Canberra over the last few years, that's really complemented the art scene is the growth and the diversity in our hospitality sector as well. And I think dinner and a show go hand in hand still.
Yep.
But I think what I really like at the theatre is I think being with friends. There's something really lovely about being able to talk through what you're seeing. But equally, I'm no stranger to going to the theatre alone.
Oh,
and
right.
and because I actually kind of really enjoy the immersive experience. And,
cool.
And I think to some people it could look a little unusual, but being able to really digest something and think about it is pretty lovely too. So,
can you think of any shows that you've seen that you've quite enjoyed at the theatre?
Yeah, I think the number one show, and there's so many. I was going back through my blog as well and seeing the different shows that I reviewed.
Yep.
Two really stick out in my mind. The number one show for me was Wicked, that
cool.
Free Rein put on.
That was good. That was great. I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, and why that is particularly special for me, not least because it was incredible production, and I was with friends and they were absolutely blown away. None of them had seen Wicked before, and I'm like, you're in for a treat, and it was just incredible. But equally, Defying Gravity, essentially the theme song of Wicked, had been the song that I had played throughout my campaign to kind of lift me up in 2016, and the Wicked production was on about a month after the election, and to just kind of see this show and hear this song live in such a stellar production, it all really kind of came full circle for me. But also One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest. I remember that's a little bit longer ago, and that was a fantastic production as well. They really stand out for me among many things that I've seen.
Excellent. I see your. I mean, and a lot of your followers would know you're quite prolific on Instagram. You're a bit of a master. What is it about Insta that you like about it? What is it about communicating with your community in this way that appeals to you?
I think what's so great about Insta, or what really works for me, is people do want to see behind the scenes. They do want to understand who politicians are, not the polished version so much, but who people are behind the scenes. And what does their life look like? What does the day-to-day mean? And I think what's so good about Insta is that you do get that opportunity to make some irreverent posts, in addition to some quite serious things as well. So, in the last 12 hours, I think I've posted that my dog turned 7 yesterday, but equally that light rail Stage 2A has just got the environmental tick-off from the federal government, which is a really big deal for us as an ACT government. So, that kind of just shows the two different sides, I think. But increasingly, I hear from the community that they really want to understand how things work and why things are the way they are, and I think being able to do short videos explaining things, or posts about what I'm doing, and I post a lot about taking my dog for a walk. But just it shows people that you're a real person, but it also exposes some of the things that I think can otherwise be quite opaque, and especially with politics.
A couple of things on your Instagram feed, probably the less serious things that I want to talk to you about, but this is probably fairly serious. You broke your leg around sort of the holiday sort of period, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
What happened there? What's going on?
Yeah, so I've essentially gone through a holiday from hell. But I know this is an experience that many people have shared. This was not the Christmas or the summer holiday that we're all hanging out for. Things started to topple like dominoes, I think. But I ended up. I spent most of summer in Canberra, but decided to head away for about 15 days, and. In a 9-day period, I ended up in quarantine or self-isolation on 3 different occasions for different reasons due to changing borders. And then I've been in Greater Brisbane, and then they went into lockdown. And on the 9th day of this trip, where I'd spent, I think, 5 of the 9 days just in a hotel room watching TV. I slipped. I slipped in a puddle of all things, and it was just kind of a bit of a scummy puddle, so quite slippery.
Oh no!
And I'll never forget the sound. But and I ended up a few nights hospital stay, and then 2 planes back to Canberra, and finished off my break, so to speak, back watching TV, but just at home.
No.
So, yeah, but do you know what? Of course, in the first day or so, I was just in shock, and then I was pretty cranky.
Yeah.
But but I think apart from the natural synergy there is for an arts minister breaking her leg, but equally, it's just kind of reminded me about the things that really matter. And yes, a holiday is a nice thing to have, but nothing is more important than your health and your friends and your family. And I'm very lucky; it was a clean break. Already, I'm reasonably mobile. It's 3.5 weeks later today, and
good.
Reasonably mobile in a moon boot. And my family and my friends, particularly my friends, just came out, and the numbers of offers for help and even from constituents and was just incredible. And I think that reminded me of just how much I have already, and how important all those things are, and valuing that. And but 2021's clearly got a few more surprises for us.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, and look, I don't think anyone's under any illusions that it's going to be a magical, better year. I think we've got the hangover of 2020 to get through, but there are still there's still beauty. I think there's still these things that we can value and hold on to, and lessons from 2020 as well. And if I had to get reminded about that in the first week or so of January, and that's fair enough.
Certainly. You're obviously a music fan as well. I've seen on your Instagram account that you did vote in the Hottest 100 for 2020. I loved your votes. There's some Canberra stuff in there. There's a couple. We've actually got a few votes that were quite similar. Well, exactly similar, I should say. I also voted for Hilltop Hoods. Also voted for Glass Animals, The Heat Waves, the number one song that came in. And the one that I really loved and I really wanted to have as part of my list was Bird's song, Bagilam Bargan. What a great song that is, hey?
Oh, absolutely. It really stirs something in you, I think.
Yeah.
And
goosebumps.
I saw it on so many of my friends' lists as well, and went, this is clearly a song. And obviously, it made it well into the Hottest 100, and the fact that it resonated with so many, I think, is fantastic. Really sends a signal, I think, to the broader music industry as well. Gosh, it was hard. That took me 3 weeks to whittle down, and I was agonising over it. And it was. But that just shows how incredible the music still is in Australia.
Absolutely.
And how important it is to have stations like Triple J exposing that to so many audiences, and to see that so many Australian artists reflected in the Hottest 100 again was fantastic and very pleasing to me, not just personally but as an arts minister as well.
What sort of music do you normally find yourself gravitating towards?
Oh, look, anything and everything. I make no secret that I'm a huge Fleetwood Mac fan.
Nice.
I'm a huge Icehouse fan.
They're making a bit of a comeback at the moment, Fleetwood Mac. The younger generation have discovered them via the magic of TikTok, and they're going gangbusters again. It's hilarious.
Oh, it's incredible. And look, there's also a band called Fleet Mac Wood. And they do disco remixes of Fleetwood Mac.
Cool.
And they've travelled the world. They've been to Australia and even to Canberra a few times. But they're based in LA, and essentially every Saturday morning Australian time through the pandemic, for an hour they stream on Twitch and do these Fleetwood Mac covers, but with a real kind of disco bent to them. I have to say that's a great way as a Fleetwood Mac fan to start a weekend.
That's so good. Tara, let's talk about Canberra's art scene. Do you think that the Canberra art scene has something special about it, something unique about it?
Yeah, I really do. And you might have to call time on me if I'm still going up.
I'll pull you up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's so much. I think the starting point for me is where we are as Canberrans. So we work together and we amplify each other. I think that is extraordinarily special. So everywhere I go, there's this real camaraderie and community spirit, and people really. I don't ever see. The competition, I suppose, that I see or hear about in other cities. I see people really looking to lift each other up and to provide exposure opportunities. And equally, what that seems to translate to is a lot of these cross industry or inter-industry collaborations. So, whether it's from Design Canberra to You Are Here and the International Music Festival, Art Not Apart, all of these things are bringing together so many different parts of the Canberra art scene, and I think that shows that working together element. But I also think what's really special about Canberra is that there's art at all levels, and so what that translates to is there's an accessibility at all levels, no matter what you're into or what translates for you. That there's something for you here in Canberra. So from those kind of underground band gigs in the backyards of the inner north to really incredible and internationally significant exhibitions at the National Gallery or at the National Museum or the library. But there's really something for everyone. And what I'd love to see is, as Arts Minister, what can I do more there to amplify that myself and to expose that and to provide more opportunities there. But the diversity is just incredible, and I think I've always felt like I had a pretty good connection and understanding of the Canberra art scene, but I'm always learning too. I can't believe how much I don't know still. And
there's hidden gems everywhere, aren't there?
Yeah, exactly, and that's the beauty of it. That there's always something to surprise you, or to go, I didn't realise that was happening, or that this was going on, or that there was all these people knew each other, or there's something really special about that, and I think that sets our art scene apart.
Yeah, great. Tara, I know you have to head off in a sec, so I've got two more questions for you, a couple of quick ones. How do you feel about this proposed new cultural precinct development? And there's potentially a new theatre and this new precinct for Canberra. What do you think about all of that?
Yeah, look, I think this is a really exciting opportunity for us, and especially with Canberra Theatre. What a fantastic institution, and I've just did a behind the scenes tour recently, and the incredible posters going back decades of what's been hosted there. But equally, the theatre was built for a city that was much smaller than where we are now, and indeed a region that's much smaller than what our region is now, and what we can attract here now. And so it's very obvious, I think, to me, but to Canberra as a whole, that a new theatre is needed, and that's why it absolutely is an election commitment from us. And I think the cultural precinct is a fantastic opportunity to really kind of better make sense of the area that's around the theatre. And to better the wayfinding for people, the what we have available there, what that the kind of experiences that you can go as a destination that's not just the theatre, but but a place that you can linger and do different things in, with the theatre as kind of the central crown, a central jewel in this crown of an area. I think that's a really exciting proposition for us as a city, and brings with it so many other benefits with it as well, by having that real destination that's got lots of different things that you can do that all feed into and build off each other. Very. I've seen. I've had some early conversations with the people in the City Renewal Authority and Major Projects Canberra, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to progressing.
Yeah, how exciting. And this, I guess, my next question sort of feeds into that a little bit as well. But last question for you, Tara. What would you like to achieve in your time as Arts Minister? And that might be part of it.
Yeah, look, it really is. I think there's probably two main things that I want to achieve, and the first of it is supporting, I guess, the whole ecology of our arts community to work better as an arts economy. So building on the capacity and the capabilities that we already have here, so that the arts sector is more sustainable, that there are more opportunities for artists, and that creative industries outside of Canberra want to come to work here and to stage things here, because we've got the resources, whether they're people or infrastructure. That's something that I'm keenly focused on, and I guess exploring what that means and what that looks like. But also not just I think situating Canberra as artist friendly, and I think we already are, but something, and I think this is where my portfolios really tie in together. It's about being empowering artists better, so making it easier and simpler to discover opportunities and to access initiatives. I really want to hear from artists about, what are the barriers to producing art in Canberra at the moment, and are there ways that we can simplify things, or whether they're approvals processes, or knowing how to apply for a grant, and what are the things that people are looking for. Yep. Making it so that artists feel like that it's easy to get that support to do those things in Canberra. And I think we're already quite a way there, but there's always more that we can do, and I'd love to hear ideas that people have, or feedback about where government can support better, because I think arts already has been, but are going to be so important, not just to our economic recovery, but also to what I call our community recovery, or our well-being recovery as a city and as a nation, and indeed globally, and what we can do to support artists to support that is firmly at the front of my mind and a priority for me.
Fantastic. Tara, I will have to let you go. I know you've got a very busy day, and we really appreciate you taking a bit of time out to have a chat to us on our little podcast. And it's been great to get to know you a little bit better as well, Tara. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much for the opportunity. It was a real pleasure.
Fantastic. And there you have Tara Cheyne, MLA, and our Minister for the Arts here in the ACT, right here on 30 Minute Call.